Hey everyone, it's a Fallen Ranger here, another episode of Fallen Ranger Sports. This episode we are recapping a game in which case of Boise State Broncos men's basketball team squeaked out a 1 point win against St. Mary's in a neutral site game this afternoon on December 14th in Idaho Falls in a neutral site game. The Broncos beat St. Mary's 68-67, win the first half 37-32, but lost the second half 35-31 to win by the final score of 68-67. Game was played in, doesn't list it because Broncos Sports listed as the Next Mile Arena when it was actually in the Mount America Center in Idaho Falls. So right now there isn't any information about the fan attendance. I think there probably were maybe about 2,500, 3,000 people. Since Idaho Falls is in eastern Idaho, close to Utah, in a more Mormon area of Idaho / Latter-day Saints. And they're pretty big on religion throughout the whole day, so yeah, I don't think there were a lot of people at the game. Especially since you're a Bronco fan and the Boise area takes about 4 drive over, then it's a 4 drive back after the game. And so you probably still, some people might have got here right about now since right now it's 7:42. But there might still be others, or they might decide to be staying overnight like Twin Falls or something like that. And then finish the rest of the drive in the morning. Especially since tomorrow is Monday and it's a major work day for a lot of people too. So I think that really cut into the fan attendance of this game again, like last night. The Bronco football team, which I'll do an episode on in the next few days or so, playing at the LA Bowl. There were some fans, including and also Boise State Athletics Department people like Jeremiah Dickey, Cody Gogler, and BJ Rains, along with Abe Jackson and Bob Bueller, who were at the LA Bowl on Saturday. Flew to Salt Lake then, or the Idaho Falls area, if there is a airport in the area, and then Ubered, or like BJ Rains did, rented a car and drove from Salt Lake or a nearby airport all the way over to the Mount America Center for the game. So now more about this game. The Broncos started out really hot, scoring the game's first 13 points to lead at 1 point early in the first half, 13-0. But then St. Mary's ran a run up 13-0 to tie the game in the first half. So it was a bit of a game of runs. There was a double tech between McKeever and Dylan Andrews in the first half. But that, was a really close game. Of note, Boise State did get their biggest lead with about 4 minutes left in the game of 14. But then St. Mary's went on a 12-0 run to get it close to 2, at which point the Broncos made their lone basket in the final 4 minutes. Then St. Mary's then hit a basket to make it a 1 point game, I believe. Or at least a tie, and then AJ Neto with 7 seconds was fouled, went to the line for 1-1 and missed the front end, which gave, no, it was a tie. No, it was it was tied, or no, Broncos were up 1 still at that point. Then that miss allowed an opportunity for St. Mary's with 7 seconds to push the ball up the court to try to get a last-second shot for a 2 or 3 to win it. But unfortunately, fortunately for Broncos, unfortunate for the St. Mary's Gales, their ball handler started losing control, got a little out of control, trying to draw a foul. Didn't get one, wound up turning the ball over, and Dylan Andrews was credited for the steal on that to secure the win for the Broncos. This is now Boise State Broncos' 3rd straight win over St. Mary's in Idaho Falls. in 3 straight years. Their first one was a 2-point win. Well, it's like a 3-point win, I think. In regulation last year, it was a 2-point win in overtime. And this year's a 1-point win. And BJ Reigns' Bronco Nation News post-game show. Even some people wondering if St. Mary's want to do a 4th round next year in Idaho Falls again, or they might think, 3 in a row is enough. I mean, they still might, since again, for both teams, this was a quad 1 opportunity for both teams. And I don't think it'll really hurt St. Mary's that much in the long run, because they're in the West Coast Conference, which is pretty weak. I mean, their only big opponent for St. Mary's is Gonzaga. They can win at least one of the games against Gonzaga and basically run the table. Ever else, at the end of the year, we're probably going to see them at like 30-5 or something like that, and securely in the NCAA tournament. So, yeah, we did beat an NCAA tournament team. After the game, the Broncos advanced to 8-3. St. Mary's dropped to 9-2. So this is a huge win for the Broncos. Probably I already said this about Butler. The Butler game is arguably one of the top true road wins in program history. Like up there with Creighton, up there with the buzzer beater half quarter at Oregon by Alexis Williams. That game, that was a huge win for the Broncos, but this is probably, in terms of away from home, this got to be within the top 4. I mean, maybe it beats out Butler and Oregon. Maybe just right there, right next to Creighton, because going into this game, St. Mary's was 17th in the net rankings, which is significant. I mean, in terms of net rankings, this might be the highest rated net rankings team we've ever beaten. I mean, the caveat that is, at the time we upset Creighton on the road in like 2011, the net rankings were not a thing. I think net rankings started coming out like 2017 or something like that. I mean, the net rankings will update tomorrow, or they might be updated already. I'm not entirely certain. I mean, I could quickly take a look. It already updated. St. Mary's dropped to 23rd in the name rankings after being 17th going into today. And Boise State jumped to 39th, so the Broncos moved up 5 spots to 39th in net rankings, up from 44th. And this is more at the Goldilocks zone, because in terms of net rankings, very few. I mean, it's rarity for a team that is inside the top 40 at the end of the year at the net rankings to be left out of the NCAA tournament. And this is one of the key metrics they use for the resume alone, like Tolveric and Campom and KPI, stuff like that. But this is a huge win for the Broncos. It gets them even closer. I mean, going into today, the Broncos, according to Palmer, another big-time bracketologist, had the Broncos as second team out. So the second team and the first 4 out of the NCAA tournament. But after this win against St. Mary's, if the season were to end right now, today, December 14th, 2025, Boise State would probably be in the field. Yes, maybe like a 16th seed, like an 11th seed, playing in Dayton, but still in the NCAA tournament for the 4th time in 5 seasons after missing out on it the last year. And now let's look at KenPom. After the game, Broncos are now 45th in the KenPom. So they basically stayed about the same. Insane. Mary's is 32nd, so not much change for either team. Because again, KenPom predicted this as a 1-point win for St. Mary's. And again, the Vegas line was 1.5 point win for St. Mary's. And so I think this is actually a good trade-off for if you're Boise State in terms of KenPom, to be about where you were, still close to the top 40 in KenPom, but still you beat a real good St. Mary's team. Even though you don't move up much, St. Mary's doesn't move down much either. Maybe just a spot or two. So, again, if you're Boise State, in terms of KenPom rankings, a really nice trade-off, I'd say. I mean, had they have wound up winning by 6+ points, or like as much as, again, as I said a few minutes ago, they led by much as 14 with about 4 minutes to go. Had they kept that lead, Boise State probably would have jumped up more significantly in the KenPom, but St. Mary's also would have fallen in KenPom. Probably same thing for the net rankings. So maybe this is probably a better outcome in terms of just very little movement in both the net and KenPom for both teams. Because again, that means that it's still a really good game, and both teams are in great position still. In Boise State, that's what you want. Again, for KenPom, St. Mary's still in the top 40. And if they can finish in top 40, that'll be a massive win. Again, KenPom is another rating system the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee looks at and see the further net rankings. If St. Mary's can stay in the top 50, that'll be huge, because then it makes it a quad 1 win. So right now it's a quad 1, but we need to stay quad 1 and stay in the top 50 at the end of the season. So right now Boise State technically has 2 quad 1 wins, which is important, because this was the last non-conference game of the year for the Broncos. This weekend starts conference play, and for the Broncos to further cement a candidacy for being in the NCAA tournament, they have to go undefeated in conference play against the quad 3 and quad 4 teams, like the San Jose States, like the Air Forces, like Fresno States. Maybe Wyoming might be a quad 3, quad 4 team this year, we'll see, but historically San Jose State and Air Force and the Mountain West are in the quad 3, quad 4 range. We need to go undefeated against the bottom of the barrel teams, and we do need to get a lot of quad 1 and quad 2 wins. I mean, if we can get quad 1 road wins at San Diego State, New Mexico, Colorado State, Utah State, Nevada, I mean, some of those might be more quad 2, but I believe San Diego State, Utah State, Colorado State this year are going to be in the first quadrant. Maybe in the first quadrant. If that's the case, we get at least 2 of those, that's going to probably push us into being about 80 to 85% lock for the NCAA tournament. I mean, just lose 1 or 2 of those and have like about 5 or 6 quad 2 wins. Like home against those very same teams, or wins against them like Wyoming or UNLV, or on the road at UNLV too. That could actually make us more of a lock to be in the NCAA tournament for the 4th time in 5 years. And arguably, I'd say this team, as they're playing now, honestly could not only win the conference tournament, but might be the team to give Boise State its first NCAA tournament win. Because this is an impressive team. And this team, I believe, can get us over that hump in terms of getting our first win ever in NCAA tournament history. Because this team definitely really has the talent and the player personnel to do so. Again, you look at a month ago, Hawaii Pacific, a lot of people started writing out the Broncos, but again, they took on a real good USC team, and USC had to beat us on like a last possession shot. Well, for us, a shot that didn't go into forced overtime, but still, battle against USC, who is among the top 25, I believe, in a lot of metrics and also in like Campom and maybe the net as well. We beat a real, or not beat, but we kept it close, a 3 point loss against USC in a neutral site game, and against a real talented NC State team. We kept it close, but then they pulled away a little bit late. But still, we battled hard against both those teams, and I definitely say those two games in the in-season tournament we played in the Southwest Invitational Tournament, that is really paying extensive dividends right now. I mean, this team is playing like a NCAA tournament team because, again, we also beat Butler on the road, which most likely will be an NCAA tournament team. And we beat St. Mary's in a neutral site game against St. Mary's, will be seen most likely this year in the NCAA tournament as well. So we played 4 NCAA tournament worthy teams in USC, NC State, Butler, St. Mary's, and went 2-2 against them. And maybe Utah Valley might, or Wichita State could, along with Utah Valley. I mean, I think those teams could also potentially be in the NCAA tournament as well. We'll see. Now, in terms of actual stats from this game, Paulius Marauskas had 38 minutes, was 6 of 11 from the floor, 1 of 2 for 3, and 8 of 10 for 30 stripe. 1 offensive, 11 total boards, 2 fouls, and a steal, and 21 minutes, and 21 points. So he had a double-double for St. Mary's. Joshua Dent played every second, was 5 of 9 from the floor, 1 of 3 for 3, and perfect from 30 stripe, hitting out 5 foul shots. Had 1 foul, 6 assists, and 4 1 foul, 6 assists, 4 turnovers, 2 steals, and 16 points. Andrew McGeever, 26 minutes, was 2 of 10 from the floor, 1 of 2 from 30 stripe, 3 offensive, 6 total boards, 4 fouls, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, and 5 points. Mikey Lewis only played 9 minutes in the game, was 0 for 4 from the floor, 0 for 3 for 3-point range, 1 board, 2 fouls, 1 turnover. And Rory Hawk only played 6 minutes in this game, had an offensive board and a foul. From the bench, Dylan Shaw played 34 minutes. He was 5 of 9 from the floor, 2 of 6 of 3, 2 offensive, 4 total boards, 1 turnover, 1 steal, and 12 points. Liam Campbell, 24 minutes, 1 of 6 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3, 4 of 5 from 30 stripe, 3 boards, 1 foul, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 7 points scored. Tony Duquette played 7 minutes, was 1 of 5 from the floor, 0 for 3, 2 of 2 from 30 stripe, 1 steal, 4 points. Harry Wessels, 14 minutes, 1 of 3 from the floor, 2 offensive, 4 total boards, 2 fouls, 1 turnover, 2 points scored. And Montez Juzenas played 2 minutes, no stats. All in all, St. Mary's also had 10 offensive boards, 33 total boards, 13 fouls, only 7 assists on 21 made baskets, 10 turnovers, 6 steals. In the first half, they were 11 of 28 from the floor for 39%, 4 of 11 from 3-point range for 36%, and 6 of 9 from the 30 stripe. So a lot of their damage was done by 3-pointers, because again they had 4 threes and they only made 7 other 2s. So another non-3-point shots. So take those 3-pointers away. In the first half, they were only 7 of 17 from the floor. With those 3-pointers, they're 11-28. In the second half, they were 10 of 29 for nearly 35%. Only 1 of 8 from 3-point range for 12.5%, and 14 of 15 from 30 stripe for 93%. Overall, they were 21 of 57 for 37%, 5 of 19 for 3-point range for 26%, and 20 of 24 for 83%. We normally wouldn't mention the deal, but again, they have another game before their next home game. So the 5 threes allowed will not get you $5 balcony seats to the next home game, because the next home game is till 30th. And before that, they play this Saturday, so you're going to have to wait to see how they do defensively on Saturday at defending the 3-ball and how many 3-balls they allowed to go in. St. Mary's scored 26 points in the paint, 18 points off their turnovers, 9 second chance points, 15 fast break points, and 25 bench points. They tied the game twice, and there were 2 lead changes in the game. Again, they tied it when in the first half after we jumped up 13-0. They scored 13 in a row to tie it. And then the second half, they took a little lead. Well, they tied it. There were a couple lead changes, but yeah, overall. Anyway, moving on to Boise State. Drew Fielder played 21 minutes, or as now I'm going to call him Dynamite Drew. He was 10 of 17 from the floor. He was really feeling it tonight. He was 2 of 6 from 3, all from charity stripe, had 3 offensive, 6 total boards, 2 fouls, 2 turnovers, and a game-high 22 points. Javon Buchanan played 32 minutes, was 4 of 7 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3, and 2 of 2 from charity stripe. He had 7 boards, 1 foul, 2 assists, 1 turnover, and 11 points scored. Dylan Andrews played 31 minutes, was 2 of 6 from the floor, 1 of 1 from 3, and 4 of 4 from charity stripe. Had a board, 2 fouls, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, and 9 points. Andrew Meadow, 27 minutes, again a little bit of a cold shooting night for him. Was 2 of 7 from the floor, 0 for 3 from 3, 2 boards, 2 fouls, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, and only 4 points. And RJ Keene played 23 minutes as a starter. He was 2 of 3 from the floor, 1 offensive, 7 total boards. He had 4 fouls, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 4 points. From our bench, Pina Carmichael played 26 minutes, was 3 of 4 from the floor, 1 of 2 from beyond the arc, and 2 of 2 from charity stripe. Had 3 boards, 1 foul, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, and 9 points scored. Dominic Perlin, on his birthday, played 19 minutes, was 1 of 4 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3, and 4 of 4 from charity stripe. 1 offensive, 2 total boards, 2 fouls, 1 turnover, 1 block shot, 1 steal, and 7 points scored. Edinaldo Neto, 16 minutes, 1 of 4 from the floor, 0 from 3, and 0 from charity stripe. Had 2 fouls, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, and 2 points scored. And Spencer Ahrens played 5 minutes, didn't attempt a shot, had 2 fouls and a turnover in the game. Broncos finished with 5 offensive, 31 total boards, 18 fouls, only 9 assists on our 25 made shots, committed 15 turnovers, again 5 of which were in the final 4 minutes. Then 1 block shot and 5 steals. I mean, at halftime they only had like 4 assists. In terms of shooting, the Broncos were 15 of 28 in the first half for 54%. A paltry 1 of 11 from 3-point range for 9%, and 6 of 7 from charity stripe for 86%. Second half they did much better. They were 10 of 24 overall for 42%, 5 of 8 from 3-point range for 63%, and 6 of 7 from the charity stripe. Overall, they shot 25 of 62 for 48%, 6 of 19 for a hair under 32%, and 12 of 14 for 86% from the charity stripe. Broncos had 36 points in the paint, 6 points off Gale's turnover, 6 second chance points, 11 points via the fast break, and 18 bench points. So another game when defensively we held a NCAA tournament caliber team to under 70 points. Second straight game in a row we did that. So our team is really rounding out to be definitely NCAA's caliber, and probably among the best teams in the Leon Rice era. Here's the points off turnovers again. St. Mary's had 18. They had 8 in the first half, 10 the second again. Majority of that in the final 4 minutes. As part of that 12-0 run, they went on to get back in the game. Again, the Broncos have 5 turnovers in that span and only made 1 basket in the final 4 minutes of the game. The lead got to 14 on a Dylan Andrews 3-pointer right before the basically before the 4 minute mark, or about like 4 minutes 30 seconds left. And then again, St. Mary's went on a 12-2 run, 13-2 run or something like that to ultimately lose by 1. In terms of second chance points, St. Mary's had 5 in the first, 4 in the second for 9 total. Broncos got all the 6 of theirs in the first half. Bench points, St. Mary's had 13 in the first half, 12 in the second for 25 total. Broncos had 6 in the first, 12 in the second for 18 total. For points in the paint, St. Mary's had 10 in the first half, 16 in the second for 26 total. For the Broncos, 26 in the first half, 10 in the second for 36 total. For St. Mary's, 3 in the first half, 12 in the second for 15 total fast break points. For the Broncos, 7 in the first half, 4 in the second for 11 total. St. Mary's had 4 L boards in the first half, 6 in the second for 10. Broncos had 3 in the first half, 2 in the second for 5. L boards for total rebounds. St. Mary's had 14 in the first half, 19 in the second for 33 total boards. Broncos 17 first half, 14 second half for 31 total. I mean, yes, we did get a rebound, which is more of a rarity, but again, they had like 2 7-footers, and the fact that we only lost rebound and battled by 2, and the fact that again, St. Mary's had 10 offensive boards, but only 9 second chance points. It's a testament to how physical we were and our effort and our determination in this game to try to get stops after those offensive boards for St. Mary's and to fight for every rebound, or to make certain that, their 7-footers didn't get immediately. Try to tip it around to someone else. Again, the Broncos had the lone block of the game in the first half, and you'd think with 2 7+ footers, St. Mary's would have had multiple, but they didn't even get a single block on us. They didn't block a single one of our shots. St. Mary's had 3 first half steals, 3 second half for 6 total. Broncos 2 in the first, 3 in the second for 5 steals total. St. Mary's had 4 assists in the first half, 3 in the second for 7 total. Broncos with 3 first half steals, 6 in the second half for 9 total. In terms of turnovers, St. Mary's had 4 in the first, 10 in the second for 10 total. Broncos had 6 first half turnovers, 9 in the second, again 5 in the final 4 minutes for 15 total. St. Mary's was for 6 fouls in the first half, 7 in the second for 13 total. Broncos with 8 first half fouls and 10 in the second half for 18 total. Again, I think like at least 4 free throws, like 4 maybe 6 came of the free throws in the second half for St. Mary's came in the final 4 minutes. His Broncos were called for at least 2 or 3 fouls, and one of which was a double bonus in the final 4 minutes. So a really massive win for Boise State men's basketball to close out non-conference play and to get ready for conference play, which will start on Saturday when they'll play at Nevada in Lawler Event Center. I'll just leave it at that for now, and again, I'll be going to Cleveland with my dad for this week. I fly out Thursday morning early. I'll probably do a preview of the game in Nevada on Thursday, and probably around that time I'll also recap the bowl game as well and do a couple more videos about football, like a reflection of the season, do a signing day video signing day was about a week or 2 ago at this point, but like to really get into that, look at the new faces from the high school level that came in, look at for football what's next, what they need to do to really get back to being at what the traditional Broncos standard was instead of where it currently is now, in terms of like what they may need to look at from the portal in terms of coaching, etc., etc. And then I'll also do a portal recap about we've lost. So far, lost 5 players. I'll name those so far again. Probably do that after the portal closes, like January 7th or 8th or something like that. Yep, so I'll probably, so again this week, again Wednesday night, I'll probably recap or maybe Thursday I'll recap after I get into Cleveland and get settled. I'll probably recap the women's game because that's going to be Wednesday night. Again, I'll work till 5:30 on Wednesday. Then it got like a 5:30 flight, so probably shouldn't be up too late on Wednesday night. So Thursday, I'll probably recap the women's basketball game, along with preview the men's game in Nevada, along with start turning out the football videos as well. Again, recap of the bowl game, reflect on the season, along with the final stats for the season. You know, what's next for the football team as they will start getting ready for next year. What needs to happen. When it comes to portal, again, I'll do the portal stuff after the signing day, after I review the signing day stuff. So, yep, with that said, hell of a win for men's basketball this afternoon in neutral site game in Idaho Falls against a really talented St. Mary's team that will most likely be dancing in the NCAA tournament in March. So, have a wonderful rest of your evening. Well, let's just see if there's a recap about that game. A bit more of a recap, more of a fun recap. You know, I mean, again, Broncos finished with 9 wins and to cap out the regular season, or to cap out the non-conference part of the season. Broncos did move to 11-5 all-time against St. Mary's. And dating back to 2014, the Broncos have now won 4 straight against St. Mary's. And for a second straight game, the Broncos have held their opponent to under their season averages on like overall shooting, 3-point shooting, and average per game. Again, I think St. Mary's was coming to this game averaging over 80 points or something like that. Held to 67 against Butler. Was scoring about 80, and they were held to the 60s as well. So again, we held back-to-back teams that are NCAA worthy to under like double digits of their points per game coming in. Same thing with like shooting percentages as well. So that's really impressive. And this keeps going for Boise State. They can keep defensively doing this, holding teams, you know, well below their averages on like points per game, overall shooting, and or 3-point shooting. Broncos can make a lot of noise in conference play and really position themselves to have a great look at going into the NCAA tournament as an at-large, or winning the whole entire Mountain West Conference and having a much better seed in the NCAA tournament, and maybe winning a game, 2 or maybe 3 in the NCAA tournament. I mean, this team, they keep playing this way in terms of closing out, or in terms of finding ways to win games. I mean, yes, you prefer doing better down the stretch in the final 4 minutes, not having like 5 turnovers and only scoring 2 points while giving up like 12 or 13 points to your opponent. You know, but they can get better at finishing the game, finishing the final 4 minutes. You know, this team, the sky's the limit. And this team is proven to be an elite defensive team, and they can also be pretty elite at scoring as well. So, yeah, have a wonderful rest of the night and go Broncos.